Morning, students. So, in today's session, we'll be handling the losses and efficiency of DC machines, like both the generator and motor. What are the losses and how efficient they are in accordance with these losses, we will be considering. So, the losses mainly comprises of copper losses, then iron losses, and mechanical losses. So copper loss accounts for about, if we consider the total losses to be 100%, then the copper losses will be 50 to 80%, iron losses will be 20 to 30%, and mechanical losses will be 10 to 20%. So copper losses, they are actually divided into armature copper loss because of the current flowing through the armature, and we have, the armature resistance RA is there. So armature copper loss is IA square into RA. And armature current IA is variable. So armature copper loss is a variable loss. And shunt field copper loss is another one. And you know that the shunt current is a fixed value. So shunt field copper loss is a constant loss. Okay. And it can be found by ISH square into RSH, or is equal to V into ISH. In both way, we can calculate the shunt field copper loss. And then we have the series field copper loss, which is ISC square into RSC. That is series field current into series field resistance. And you know that series field current and armature current, they are the same. Then in a series connected generator or motor, that's why it's a variable loss. So the variable losses in a DC machine are armature copper loss and series field copper loss, and they account for 50 to 80% of the total losses. And shunt field copper loss is a constant loss because shunt current is constant. Now coming to the second type, we have the iron losses, which accounts for about 20 to 30%. So they are divided into hysteresis loss and eddy current loss, and they are actually constant losses. So hysteresis loss, and what are hysteresis eddy current loss in detail we'll be dealing in the next session. And the third one is a mechanical loss, which accounts for 10 to 20%. And mechanical loss is divided into friction and windage loss. So friction means as the armature is rotating, its bearings or brushes, as they are moving, it can get damaged. So that is friction losses. And windage loss means the wind. The wind tries to oppose the flow of armature is rotating, and wind will come in opposite direction and try to oppose. So there also we can have loss. That's one mechanical loss, and it accounts for 10 to 20%. So then another thing that you should understand is iron losses and mechanical losses, which are constant losses. They're also called stray load losses. So when we studied these three types of losses, many things are included in this particular page. Like copper loss is there. Copper loss, there are three types. And in the copper loss, armature copper loss and series field copper loss, they are only the variable losses. And all other losses, iron loss, mechanical loss, and the shunt field copper loss are constant losses. And then iron load and iron losses and mechanical loss together, they're called stray load losses also. Okay, fine. Then we have brush contact loss also, but they are included in the armature copper loss. So that is included in that. Then we have, so now we will see in detail the two type of iron losses. One is hysteresis loss, and the other one is the eddy current loss. So with regard to hysteresis losses, I think many of you might have seen this curve. This is what we call the BH curve, or the magnetization curve we call it. So hysteresis curve comes due to the magnetic reversal. You can see in the figure, like we have the North Pole and South Pole, and we have the armature is rotating in the clockwise direction. So the point A is shifted from North Pole to South Pole, then South Pole to North Pole, and so on. So see here also, like first here the point A was near North Pole, then after that it moved near to South Pole. So the point A is shifted from North Pole to South Pole, then to North Pole, and so on. So continuously poles are changing. That is, each point experiences different poles as it continuously rotates in clockwise direction, right? From the figure should come to your mind. So there is a magnetic change. So Since the pole is changing every time it is moving, there is a magnetic change is happening, a magnetic reversal is happening. So this lead to the curve called as the hysteresis curve. So as the continuously rotating clockwise direction, there is a magnetic change and the dipole needs to change every time. So this lead to a curve called as the hysteresis curve. And the area under the hysteresis curve will give you the hysteresis loss. That is, hysteresis loss per cycle per unit volume is given by the area under hysteresis curve. So hysteresis curve is a BH curve. So just draw this diagram and BH, just understand. More things are not needed in your syllabus. So just basic thing only you understand. What is hysteresis loss? Okay. Then we know that just actually this thing you should keep in mind. We know that F is the frequency, P is the number of poles, and N is the speed. So frequency is equal to number of revolutions per second. So we can say that when the armature rotates, when the armature move from this side to this side, it covers two poles, right? So it is P by 2 into N by 60. That's number of revolution divided by 60 seconds. So the total frequency will be, we know that frequency is number of revolutions per second. So number of revolution we can calculate like P by 2 into N by 60. So frequency is calculated as Pn by 120. This formula is important. You can get problems. Multiple choice question problems and all you can just get based on this. All terms are familiar for you. Only this equation I think you are seeing now, but all these terms are familiar for you. Frequency, number of poles, then P, then speed of revolution, everything is familiar for you. And for reducing the hysteresis loss, we use the core made of silicon steel. Only that can be done to reduce hysteresis loss because silicon has much superior properties. Okay. Then we come to the other type of iron loss, which is called as the eddy current loss. This is simple. We know that the armature conductor is rotating inside a magnetic field. According to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, so Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction is the base of like form induced EMF and also current carrying conductor, any conductor which is kept in a magnetic field, means rotating conductor in a magnetic field means an EMF is induced in that. That's what Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction states. So it produces an EMF. So the induced EMF will produce current, no? So that current is moving as eddies in the armature. So the current due to this is called as eddy current loss. Current loss due to that is eddy current into that resistance will give you the eddy current loss. Okay. So in order to avoid the eddy current, I think this you have studied in your 12th standard and all. So in order to reduce the armature eddy current loss, we use the laminated silicon steels. So lamination is one important thing that we should use to reduce eddy current. Okay, so now we'll discuss about the power stages of a DC generator. So looking at the power stages of DC generator, we say that we know that in a generator we give the mechanical input. So mechanical power input will be given, and then we will have the iron and friction losses, which we call as the stray load losses. I have already explained you in the first session. Then after that we will get the electrical power developed, which is generated EMF Eg into Ia. And then we will remove the copper losses. We have the copper loss in armature copper loss, series copper, everything is there. And then finally we get the electrical output, which is PV into IL. Okay. So when we calculate the mechanical efficiency, how we will calculate the mechanical efficiency? See the figure, we have A, B, and C. So mechanical efficiency will be how much mechanical input is given and how much electrical output we are getting from that. So it will be electrical power developed divided by mechanical input. So B by A in this figure. So Eg into Ia by mechanical input will give you the mechanical efficiency, and electrical efficiency is like how much electrical power output is developed from how much it is generated. So V into IL by Eg into Ia, that is eta E, that is electrical efficiency. And the overall efficiency or the commercial efficiency, the complete generator, what is efficiency means? It's only input by output. So V into IL, so electrical output V into IL by mechanical input. That is what we call the efficiency. So overall efficiency is the product of mechanical efficiency and electrical efficiency. That is C by A can be written as C by B into B by A. So we can calculate that. Then how we will get the maximum efficiency? We prefer any motor with maximum efficiency only, right? So when we discuss maximum efficiency, we'll consider all these losses and everything, and we'll come to a conclusion where we will get the maximum efficiency. So we know that efficiency is equal to output by input. So here we can write output by output plus losses. So input can be written as output plus losses, right? So output by output plus the losses. Losses is variable loss and constant loss. So in case of a shunt generator, armature current is equal to IL plus ISH. So V into IL by V into IL plus ISH, the wall square into RA plus the constant loss. So all the losses together we take it as the constant loss. And we know that the shunt current is very small as compared to IL. We have seen that in the many problems and all we discussed. We have seen that the shunt current is very small, so we shall neglect that. So we get output by output plus losses, like efficiency is equal to V into IL by V into IL plus IL square into RA plus WC. So taking V into IL as common, we get it like 1 by 1 plus IL into RA by V plus WC by V into IL. So we understood that for efficiency to be maximum, for this particular term to be maximum, the denominator should be minimum. How much the denominator is minimum, that much maximum efficiency we get. And we know that from mathematics you might have learned, like the derivative of a constant is 0. So minimum value means like maxima, minima concept. I think you might have, your S5 students means I think maxima, minima and everything you might have learned. So using that concept, we can write d by dIL of this denominator is equal to 0. So taking the derivative, first derivative, we will get it like RA by V is equal to WC by VIL square. D by dt of 1 by x is minus 1 by x square. So likewise, when you substitute, the minus will come this side and we will get this. So cross multiplying, we get IL square into RA is variable loss and WC is the constant loss. So we can write the load current IL is equal to root of WC by WA. So one thing we should say that for efficiency to be maximum, the variable loss should be equal to the constant loss. And load current at maximum voltage is IL is equal to root of WC by RA. WC is the constant loss. Okay. Now let us see a problem regarding the same concept. So just like I have already taught you numerous problems regarding a generator. So this one is a bit different. So let's see this also. So a 100 kilowatt shunt generator is operated at 200 volt. The spray losses are 1800 watt and shunt field current is 5 ampere. The armature circuit has a resistance of 0.035 ohm and brush drop is 2.2 volt. So now here we need to calculate the total losses, input of the prime mover and efficiency at rated load. And then mechanical efficiency also we need to calculate. So we know that it's a shunt generator. So we straight away drew the diagram of a shunt generator and load current we marked, armature current we marked, then shunt everything, because this is self-excited shunt generator. So from the inputs given in the question, we can calculate like IL is equal to 100 into 100 kilowatt by the voltage there, this 200 volt will give you the load current IL. So if you have the load current IL and ISH also, I think it's given 5 ampere, then IA is equal to IL plus ISH, which is 500 plus 5. So armature copper loss is IA square into RA. So armature square we calculate like this. Then shunt field copper loss, how we will calculate? V into ISH. I told you, either it can be ISH square into RSH, or it can be even V into ISH. Same. So 200 into 5 shunt field copper loss. And brush loss is 2.2. So brush drop, how much it is? So I told you in the beginning now, brush drop losses are also considered as armature loss only, armature copper loss only, because it's connected to the armature now. So we take armature current only. So it is brush drop into armature current. So that is given as 111 watt. Then total loss will be stray load loss plus armature copper loss plus shunt field copper loss plus the brush loss. So total we will get the total losses. And how we will calculate the input? The input is output plus the loss. So input we get as this. So efficiency is output by input into 100. So we get the efficiency, and for maximum efficiency also we need to calculate. So maximum efficiency will be, so what is the condition for maximum efficiency? The stray load losses should be, variable loss should be equal to constant loss. So constant loss, which are the constant losses in a DC machine? They are the shunt field copper loss and the stray load losses. So the addition will give you 2800 volt. So these constant losses should be equal to variable loss for maximum efficiency. So we know that efficiency is equal to output by output plus losses. But in case of a maximum efficiency means losses are all equal. So we can take 2 times. So output by output plus 2 into constant losses. So we'll get the answer, because you know efficiency is equal to, because we know that efficiency is equal to output, we know that efficiency is equal to output by output plus variable loss plus constant loss. So variable loss and constant loss are equal means we can add them. No, add them means two times. Output by output plus 2 into constant loss. That's why we'll get the answer. Okay, this is efficiency, maximum efficiency. Okay, and actually this is another concept like I already explained to you, but one or two specific terms I think I haven't mentioned. So this is that what is actually. So a DC compound motor means, you know both series and shunt winding will be there. So we have seen a long shunt and short shunt. So this you know, long shunt and short shunt you know already. So in both compound motors, series field winding will be having less number of turns. So this series field winding should be having less number of turns, and shunt fielding should have many number of turns. So, and also for series field winding, the cross sectional area is more, because cross sectional area is more means resistance will be less and more current will flow through the armature and more EMF will be generated. So here we have two fluxes, which is shunt field flux and series field flux. We mention it as phi SC and phi SH. So two important concepts that you should understand is a cumulative DC compound motor and differential DC compound motor. So the early difference is like, it's a type of compound motor, either long shunt or short shunt. There the net flux will be the sum of series winding and shunt winding. So the flux value will be increased. So the connection will be in such a way. And a differential DC compound means net flux will be the difference. So phi SC minus phi, so the flux will decrease. And we know that the back EMF is equal to K into phi IN, because other terms are all constant. So we consider constant K. And so EB is proportional to phi N, phi into N. So we can write the speed N is proportional to 1 by phi. So when we need more speed means flux should be less. So where is flux less? In case of a differential DC compound. So just remember, differential means it should be the difference. So flux will be, the net flux will be less, and cumulative means it's getting cumulated. So flux will be more. So for decreased speed, we use a differential compound motor. Okay, so then I will be teaching you like the application of all these types of motors, and where we use a differential compound motor, where we use a shunt motor, where we use a series motor, all these things, like practically where you use. That's very important when we go when you have a multiple choice question and all. So such questions you can get a lot of questions. So you should study these things very thorough. Application of generator and motor with the different types, and this power efficiency and loss on everything. That's all for today's lecture. Thank you.